Hello, my name is Jesse Zacarias. I'm a technician here at the Research and Development Department at Valbody Pro. In our endeavor to better our product, we're constantly doing research. And upon doing a research on the 09G transmission and the 09D, also known as the TF60SN and the TR60SN, we came across a procedure that we have seen to be very helpful in eliminating many of the symptoms that appear after a valve body has been replaced or a transmission has been repaired. We at Valbody Pro, we call this Transmission Control Module Learn, or TCM Learn for short. We're going to show you how to do this procedure, but before we do that, we would like to explain to you a little bit about what we found in our research that's going to help you understand why this TCM Learn is very essential for a good repair on these transmissions. You know, the transmission control modules that are utilized to control these transmissions is a very sophisticated piece of electronic equipment. It has the ability to be able to meter, control the amount of pressure that is entering an ongoing clutch, while at the same time metering and controlling the pressure that's being exiting off an offgoing clutch. Not only that, but it can also control and meter the amount of pressure that's entering the K1 clutch pack for a smooth neutral to drive engagement. You can also control or meter the amount of pressure that's entering the K3 clutch pack for a smooth reverse engagement. Now, what we're going to do is show you here some of these procedures that we have found, some of the recordings that we have. What we did here is we installed a pressure transducer in the K1 clutch pack. So you're going to see a channel 1 being through the K1 clutch pack, the channel 2 green to the B2 clutch pack, the channel 3 which is blue in color to the K3 clutch pack, and the channel 4 or the red one to the K4 clutch pack. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you a complete shifting of engagement with the pressures from initial engagement 1 through 6 shift and 6 to 1 shift. This will help you understand why this TCM Learn is so important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the light so we can see this a little better. Okay? 3. Okay, now here we're back here. Like I said, we're going to be looking at the line pressure as we're seeing the shift. What you're seeing here right now is we're going to concentrate, keeping our eye on cursor number 2. Now, we're in cursor number 2, we're in park, and so as you can see here at the pressures readings here, they're minimum. Only what's about 2 to 3 psi's, which is normal on this thing. Now, we're going to start going into reverse. So here's the K3 clutch pack coming on, and as you can see, it's just very gradually. Right now it's about 19 pounds, almost 20 pounds of pressure. Then it increases, as you notice, in 1 psi increments, going on slowly. And if you notice, it takes in about 2 seconds to do the initial engagement. Then as it goes right here, right about smoothly up to 45 psi's, then it goes to mainline pressure, which is at this time about 82 psi's. Now look at this, which is also very interesting, is when we release it, it doesn't just dump the pressure, it slowly releases it gradually until it comes to 0 psi's. Now the one you're seeing, the yellow one coming up, that's the K1. So we're still in neutral in cursor number 2. And you can see also the pressures here being very low. So we're keeping our eye on cursor number 2. And as we see the K1 coming on, again, you see initial pressure rise, and then we're looking at around 11 psi's. It starts gradually increasing in 1 psi increments. Very smooth application. This is why the initial engagement is very smooth, which is the problems that we're seeing after we repair these units. Harsh engagement and flares, harsh upshifts and harsh downshift. So here you see why. It's very smooth, apply there, and then we goes to mainline pressure. So now we're in first gear and we're taking off, and As you can see, coming up here is the B1 clutch pack, which is green, second gear, about to come in. Interesting though, if you notice that the EPC pressure raised the line pressure. We're right now approximately about 77 psi. It raised it all the way to about 150 psi right before the B1 clutch pack starts coming in. And if you notice, the B1 clutch pack, it comes on very smooth. You're going to notice that it's a different application than all the rest because there is no clutch being released, only the B1 coming on. And it comes out very smooth. And then when it decides that it's time to do it, it goes to main line pressure. And here we go. We're now in second gear, driving about 115 psi. We're now in second gear. We're looking at cursor number 2. We're in second gear. And what's approaching now is the 2-3 shift. Again, the EPC pressure, if you notice, raise the line pressure momentarily just before the shift. At the same time, it starts releasing the B1 clutch pack while the K3 is coming on. And look how smoothly it's coming on, the K3, and how gradually the TCM is releasing the B1 clutch. Smoothly until it releases completely the B1. K3 is still coming on, and then eventually it goes down to full line pressure. Now we're in third gear, and what's coming up now is the 3-4 shift. Again, we see the EPC raising the line pressure. The K3 is being released slowly, the blue one, and the K2 is coming on, which is the red one. And again, you'll see the smoothness of the releasing clutch and the apply clutch coming on for a smooth upshift, and until we go down to full line pressure. So now what's coming up is the 4-5 shift, and at the 4-5 shift we see then that the K1 has to come off. And it's interesting that the line pressure, look at it, it raises up a little bit higher. We're looking at the line pressure about 180 psi. Now if you recall that the K1 was the driving member, now the K2 has to be the driving member, and right now we're releasing the changing of the guards, sort of say, between the driving members. The K3 is coming on at the same time. K1 is being released and the K3 is coming on. Now what you're seeing here is basically is noise in the transducer. So we still haven't figured out how to eliminate that yet, but we're working on that. But here we are now, we're in fifth gear, and we're driving along around approximately about 160 psi. And so here comes the sixth gear coming on. And as we're going on to 6 speed, interesting is opposite. Have you noticed something here? The pressure is lowered a little because you don't have as much torque. So the K2 pressure, which is the red one, you can see a drop, but the K3 is being released at the same time that the B1 is coming on, and now we're in 6th gear. So now we're gonna go accelerate this a little bit faster because now we're going on. Took my foot off the accelerator there, so you see the pressure now being dropped. And as we're going now, this is going on in 6. We're coming down to a downshift, so foot off the accelerator. This is why the pressure, as you see now, is about 70 psi. And here we go down. It's gonna take a little while, but we're coming to a smooth stop. Now all this thing is we want you to remember this thing, because when you do the learning procedure, you know why those steps are so important for a smooth neutral to drive, smooth neutral to reverse and park to reverse, and for smooth upshift and downshift. Now here we come down to the downshift from 6 to 5, so the B2 has to be released and the K3 is coming back on. This is now going from 6th gear to 5. We're now in 5th gear. The next one now to come on is the K1 has to come back on while the K3 is being released. So now we are in 4th gear. and then the K2 has to be released, and the K3 comes back on, and now we are in third gear. Now this is coming down to a stop, and now we're going from third to second, and you see the B2 very smoothly. This is sometimes why we get a harsh 3-2 downshift. We'll talk about that a little bit further down the line. And now we are in second gear, and then second is being released, and the only thing we have now is the K1. We're now in first gear in stop. So let's turn the lights back on, and then we'll explain a little bit as to what we just talked about. Okay, we hope that that was very enlightening. Now, the way that the engineers designed this transmission is very interesting. How it works with the TCM. What they've done is they installed a linear solenoid for each of the 4 major clutch components. For the K1, it has its own linear solenoid. The K2 has its own linear solenoid. The B1 has its own linear solenoid, and so does the K3. This is why the TCM can control each clutch pack individually, going on and going off. What they also done, they installed a feedback control system and a self-learn control system that allows this transmission to learn and to compensate for transmission wear. So this is very interesting. What this means for us is, like I mentioned, the importance of the transmission control learn whenever we do a valve body change or we do a repair. Otherwise, we're going to have harsh engagements, harsh upshifts, harsh downshifts, and can even have flares on the upshifts. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go to the vehicle to show you the TCM learn process. So let's go to the vehicle. Okay, so let's start with the transmission control module learn procedure. The very first thing you have to make sure that there's no codes in the entire system. None of the computers should have a code on it. Otherwise, the transmission control module will not learn. The other thing you have to make sure is that the transmission fluid temperature is between 60 degrees Celsius and 110 degrees Celsius, or 150 degrees Fahrenheit and 230 degrees Fahrenheit. If the transmission fluid temperature is not within those temperatures, it won't learn also. As you can see in our example here, we're at 185 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a good temperature to start doing the transmission controller. So why don't we do that? Let's start doing the initial settings to, I'm sorry, not the initial settings. We're going to start doing the transmission control learn procedure, okay? Okay, let's do the transmission control module learn initial engagement learn. Now, to do the initial engagement learn, put your foot in the brake. It's important that the vehicle does not move. Put the transmission in neutral, leave there for 3 seconds, put it in drive, leave it there for 3 seconds, and repeat this procedure 5 times. This is the neutral to drive initial engagement. Do it 5 times. The next thing you have to do is also learn the reverse engagement. To do that, put the transmission in neutral with your foot in the brake, and then leave it there for 3 seconds. Put it in reverse and leave it there for 3 seconds. Repeat this procedure also for up to 5 times. Now let's do the transmission control module learn for the upshifts and the downshift. Now, for this demonstration purposes, we're not driving the vehicle, but we're going to show you how to do it standing still. You could utilize the PIDs in your scanner, and you bring out the accelerator pedal position. So put the transmission in drive and driving the vehicle, accelerate to about between 25 and 30% acceleration. Now you want to have somebody go with you, because it's very difficult to try to maintain what is 25 and 30%, but between 25 and 30% acceleration, you can use the PID to see it, accelerate, drive the vehicle until it reaches 6th gear.
Now, you got to make sure you keep it there until you're about 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers per hour, no less. You could be more, but no less. When you reach that speed and you are in 6 speed gear, remove your foot off the accelerator and then put your foot on the brake and come to a gradual stop until you come to a complete stop in less than 60 seconds. Now, you may have to do this up to 10 times, but do this until you do not feel harsh upshifts or downshift. That is the procedure to do a transmission control module learned for the upshifts and downshifts.